I'm really appreciative. I'm back to a new week, so looking forward to an exciting one. Good evening, Ponsak.
Yeah, we're here is brand new week, brand new month as well. I do not know. People have plenty plans for the month, for the week, for the I don't know. We're in second half of the year, so if there's anything that you want to do, I don't think it's late for you to do it. It's still you still got time, to put in the work and do the things that you ought to do to make your life better. Well, the pupils, I would say, because the kids are not students yet. They are pupils. They are still in captivity. Over the weekend, I saw images. Everybody pouring out his heart and trying to show concern about the abduction of these kids from the school in Oyo State and alongside their teachers. Over the weekend, I even saw a woman claiming to be the principal of that school on video, calling, begging, appealing to the federal government. One thing that she said, that really got me and, broke me. I thought about it. She said the federal government shouldn't use force because if they use force, they are going to kill them. And she was just saying the reality. While she was speaking on that video, you can see the tip of a gun, the barrel, of, I think it's an AK 47 or a G3, whatever it is. But the way the terrorists or the bandits or whoever they call themselves have instilled fear in the Nigerian people, and it kind of shows that, people are beginning to question the position or the role of government in the whole of this. Because if you have 2-year-olds, that the only crime that he committed was their parents, bathed them that morning and then on their way to school. I just reason I said if it was the time of way back in the time when the Southwest were really on the move on the full throttle of education, will the leaders then have condoned this? And for people who bring video of former First Lady, Patient Jonathan, when the Chibok situation, schoolgirls were kidnapped, she cried on, national TV and saying that the present First Lady, Senator Luremi, has kept mum. Of what difference did, the cry of patience made then? Nigerians crucify them. I remember crucify them saying that they have to bring the girls. But look at Nigerians now saying that it's better. Patient Jonathan showed some level of human. I do not care whether who shows some level of. What I care about is that I want my kid to go to school and I want to have him back. I don't want to, have to uh, carry the burden that my child is not going to come back again, or if my child comes eventually back to me, he's not going to be 100% okay. Because for that child that I saw a stone on his back, and that child is not going to be okay. If that child leaves, he's not going to be okay, except it takes divine intervention or providence. So this the kind of pain that we're inflicting. And for the people who are trying to make this a southwest thing or a northern thing, those are the most unfortunate set of Nigerians. When it was the point, turn of the when it was hot in the northwest, people in the south thought that they were insulated from. But just look at, and all because we don't look ourselves as a country. We look ourselves as Yoruba. People will say that there's a ton of Yoruba people because their son is the president. Eh, the more we keep looking at problems in such a fragmented way, we do not. It doesn't help us to see the panorama of solution that lies just underneath our nose, just close to the problem. So I do honestly think that there should be a collective solution to the problem. The taxpaying Nigerian will pay. The guns that the armed forces are holding is being paid for by us, the taxpayers. And this country belongs to a Nigerian citizen. And over the weekend, I thought, I said, if the government is not providing security for us, I don't think that we should. There's something that the citizens, should do, should demand. You have to demand, because the villagers, the peasants being kidnapped, and we think that, it's normal. Tomorrow, not even tomorrow, is coming very, very close. Nobody's been insulated. Nobody. Just look at Gilbert, the director of Army Information, I think it was during Jonathan or Buhari. Rabi Abubakar, who was kidnapped alongside his wife on their way, in Katsina. This is the reality of the problem. There is no place, there is no one that is insulated. And if you look at, how barbaric, and for those circulating the pictures or videos, what do you aim to achieve? Do you want to see the suffering of innocent kids? What does that, add to you if you keep circulating? I think that you are promoting even the terrorist narrative. You want for more people to be afraid of the terrorists instead of calling on our government to act, which is very unfortunate.
It's a sad reality, and to think that we still have the business of politics going on, like it's a sideshow, summarizes everything that there is for every discerning mind, every reasonable mind to, be able to understand. And this unfortunately tells you the intellectual hoax that the world is a global village. That argument has fallen like, a pack of cards, literally on its face. And it is why people would argue that the world is a metropolis, not a village as it is. Because if we were a village, I think that humanity should have come to the aid of all those who are suffering this, especially us Nigerians, or who, in the interim, aren't directly involved in all of these things. But we're all affected because we're Nigerians, and that's why we're concerned. Now, to the plan of action, I really don't think that anybody should believe the Nigerian state is not aware of the location where these at least 40 children and school, teachers are at the moment. They should have full information about that. The only thing they may be seeking, the terrorist elements now, is money, because virtually when they do these things, it's money they ask for. And you can rest assured that the argument again about whether the payment of ransom is a national security policy under the current administration or not, because they have often denied this. When it happened, I think in Niger, in Papiri, they paid money, and then they came out to say they didn't pay money. But we saw that the guys were released and no apprehensions were made until much later. So for the president to send, Bajabi Amila and of course the other 3 individuals he sent directly, they flew to Oyo State, to that local government, and to me it doesn't make any sense, because they went there only to see. I think that was tourism at best. No action, no statement, and that was barely, I think, a day after Sheyi Makinde left the same village. So there is no coordination, and right now what they're asking for is for Sheyi Makinde to resign as governor, because this has happened under his watch. What exactly is it to abdicate the responsibility that the federal government has and then shift blame to the subnational or whatever? If they really want to exchange words and what have you, I think the right thing to do is to allow for these children to be rescued, cooperate, set their differences aside. And that's how unfortunate it is that they are literally capitalizing on this to play politics and to look at the political side of things, rather than say, look, we have to come together and salvage the situation as it is. You cannot imagine that this happens to the son of the chief of staff or the daughter of the chief of staff to Mr. President. I really don't think it'll have taken more than 24 hours or even 48 hours for those. But this is about 2 weeks now. The children are there, and I absolutely never took interest in watching either the video or the pictures. Accidentally, I had to see the pictures because, of course, interactions happen between peoples, and it was unfortunate what I saw. I didn't want to see it, and it is not at all something I want to see again moving forward. It is sickening, and at best it is inconceivable. But this is the state of affairs And politics, like I said, is still going on. And the FCT minister, in fact, has the boldness, looking at the sober mood of the nation, to grant, that I think about more than an hour's media chat. So it tells exactly where the priority is, that the president, has to send a delegation, rather than, he hasn't, by the way, visited any side where these incidents have happened as president. Is he scared? Or are Nigerians not worthy of him going to identify with their sufferings? Just too many questions.
That's the kind of country that we live in. That the priority. But for me, the citizen own this country. It is our country. If we don't want to see this happen, we have the power to change the narrative and the what we want to change in our country. It's our country, but it behoves on us. Nobody, like the Reverend Matthew Hassan Kuka would say, it's not the job of the politician to change society. It's the job of the people. The French Revolution, way back even to the Hellenization of the world, if you look at what happened and what people did when they were dissatisfied with the status quo, they all take up placards and then they demand that, our lives mattered. But, in Nigeria it's a different thing. If you talk, they'll say Yoruba. In fact, for people who are saying that, what nonsense, are people saying? Embarrass the president as how? How do they want to embarrass the president? Let's play this insert from FCT Minister. Take a listen to what he said today. He's still talking politics while our kids are in captivity. But it just shows you the kind of leaders, that we have elected to serve. But the power is in our hands to change it. Any society deserves the kind of leader that they have. It's no magic because we are the ones who vote and who take decisions in society. Let's play this insert. Take a listen to what Wike, FCT Minister, had to say about Rotimi Amechi. He said if Amechi had called him, he wouldn't have told him to join the ADC because it's a setup of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Stay here. The show will continue.
When you talk about tips about Amechi is my brother. I served as chief of staff to his government. And when I saw that he was running with, I saw the setup. If he had called me, I would say, don't run there. It's very clear he cannot get transparency or due process. Why do people like people to be enemies? So is it joy for you that we should be enemies? No. Your colleague asked me a question. There's no law that says I shouldn't be knowledgeable. Let me tell you. And that's why I can comfortably challenge any party. When I see anybody in party A as a his, it's not me who will preach that. Go and preach it to others. Because I may take for example, when I saw the setup in ADC, I saw the remark there. I laughed. And let me tell you why I laughed. When you have worked with these people, when you have played with, you know who is who will do what. That setup was Atiku setup 100%. I cannot see. You can't set trap for me. You cannot. We know ourselves as politicians. Who told you that kind of structure will give you transparency? Who told you that kind of structure will give you free and fair election? Rather, I bet you my brother made a mistake. He was too much in a hurry. He was carried away by the people who are shouting. This government is not doing well. They did that to lure all of them, to give credibility. These are people that will fight the government. It's not that they are coming as a coalition. No. I will have opportunity here. Every area has been tied. It's for Atiku totally. And so they laid that gem down and everybody entered. When I was running, the Mark was the chief electoral officer. Joseph, he was chief electoral respected former Senate president 8 years. Former senator for more than 12 years. Right? By electoral regulation, fairness, campaign activities. You said campaign activity will stop so time. You called out all the delegates, all the aspirants to come and talk to the delegates. Every aspirant came. I spoke, and then Tambo spoke last. Then we are now going into a vote. You now come up and say there's an announcement. What was that announcement? I thought maybe the man is stepping that because of e-health. Or I can't continue because the kind of wave I was carrying was too much. Maybe he didn't witness it. He had when I was addressing the people. When they saw Kanu, they said there's danger. Now, they now called Tamboa back. He came, said, my dear brothers, I hereby step down. I thought at that point it's okay. He now said, vote for my senior brother. Then the man, the chief electoral empire, did not give us another opportunity. Now that he has said, vote for my senior brother, I would have come out to counter that. I would have done that to counter that. You know, but it has happened. So I know them. I know everybody there. Now look at them. You see, Ben Obi. Ben Obi was following Peter Obi everywhere as Eastern leaders. If you are watching, Ben Obi can never leave Atiku. If you know the relationship, you know, you just see people, you just say, it's a lie. Obi left, Egu left, the Peter Obi, Ben Obi left, they would never. Now, when you see in a committee of certain people, I see the heads, I see the tail, I will tell you, hey, this is a trap. Don't go there. So I bet you, they preach to him transparency. That's why he was. I support that belief.
Yeah, well, glad is still here. That was the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike there earlier on, giving a media chat, you know, saying that if Amechi had called him, he wouldn't have advised him to join the ADC because it was Atiku setup. My name is Ponsak Fanap, in case you're just tuning in.
I'm Gilbert Joseph.
Yeah, we have a guest. Emmanuel Zobmal is here with us. Thank you for coming and good evening. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good evening, Ponsak and Gilbert. Good to have you again.
Yeah, you ran for election within your party at least. How was the experience and how have you been?
Well, it was an experience, and experience never ends. And at every process or every form of engagement you find yourself, you will learn one or two things, and particularly within the Nigerian context. When it comes to politics, the experiences are going to be what you will never learn anywhere. And if you look at how our system is built and how people within the system think and act, you come to realize that it's always going to be experience and experience upon experience all the time. We went through the process from the beginning up to the day the party set us the date for the primary, which was on the 17th of last month. And of course, based on the Electoral Act 2026, is direct primary, by so saying that all eligible members or registered members of the party are the ones eligible to vote at the ward level. And guidelines were set by political parties in line with the guidelines set by the guidelines of the INEC. So, in my own case, the primary, I think it had a lot of issues, and it is quite somehow undemocratic that certain individuals will feel that they will circumvent the party process and guidelines and even the electoral law to impersonate party officials and present themselves before INEC officials as those appointed by the party and deployed to the local government.
So what's the political party doing about it?
Yeah, the party actually normally, it has a committee that normally looks into an issue as such. So upon arrival at the collation center, when there was nobody there to submit the result by the returning officer for my local government, the party directed the returning officer to bring the result to the state secretariat, which he did so. We are hoping that the party will do justice to the matter.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
So let's talk about the security situation in the country. We are back at it again, sadly. It's one we cannot avoid. In all of these things, the president has ordered the recruitment of 1,000 forest guards. According to, him, that will perhaps help. And this knee-jerk reaction that often comes with incidents. He was in Jos, and then he said he was supplying over, I don't know how many hundreds of, AI-powered CCTV cameras or whatever it is he calls them. I don't know if they have been supplied. It's the same thing, basically. When these incidents happen, that's when the president, says, okay, let's do this. Let's do this, let's do that. In your view, have we, well, it will be a bit unfair to say that governments haven't done anything. But what's the volume of effort that we've seen of government, especially when children like we know, or like we now know, senseless and cowardly human beings who just don't care about the next person at all, not to talk about the categorization, whether man or woman, child or an adult?
You see, Gilbert, government officials see handling security matters as just a function of public speech or policy statement. And as such, the situation will continue to balloon itself into a monster that they will no longer contend with. You see, at every point in time, ordinarily, government should be able to place security as topmost priority in terms of whatever you want to do. Let's say you want to build a school. The first priority in your building plan should be what should be the security in that school or any kind of setting you want to put together. Now, in your building policy in this country, at a point in time we realized that those advocating for the physically challenged, they were saying that our building policy does not capture or reflect the conditions of people living with disabilities. And if you look at it today, almost all buildings today, have to include people with disability access. Now, our building policy, what is the security measures put in place so that we'll be able to capture our peculiarity when it comes? They are unconscious of their own immediate environment. They don't even know whether there's insecurity. They don't even in fact, even if one of their own is kidnapped, it's only when the person is close to them they will feel the pains. Now, it is assumed that children do not really know what's going on. And what is the responsibility of the government? It appears that the government has already categorized our society into the society of the haves and the haves-not. Therefore, generally, public schools, basically, there is no fence. No, even a block round, like as a security measure. Even if there will be anything, maybe a reptile that can creep into the compound, there's nothing that will protect the environment. Now, how much more we have a group of monsters who roam around with sophisticated weapons, and their target is the vulnerable population. And they roam around because they know that's the only way they can make living. So how on earth that 20 years down the line that government has not designed a robust policy that even private sectors will have to enforce such policies, assuming government has put together a policy in the building estate sector to say that all schools must have this particular security building plan so that we'll be able to have safety for our children. And at least you should be able to, the school should be able to recruit up to 3 or 4 security guards.
Is it the problem? The problem is it in the forces, or how well equipped they are? And I ask you, are the terrorists beyond our conventional security in terms of numbers?
They are. They are.
You
know, the military.
You mean that the bad guys right now outnumber our security guys?
Even if they don't, the conventional military or the conservative military with their conservative ideology of defense and formal or conventional warfare, interstate warfare, they were not trained to encounter such a kind of guerrilla tactics employed by such criminals now, or terrorists. Now, by now, the Nigerian government should have adopted a more retraining program in order to meet up with the guerrilla tactics of terrorists. Because the terrorists were not trained like the military. So theirs is to apply the most appropriate and effective measures, however it is, to hit their targets. So number one, they don't have corporate identity. Just like the military must wear a uniform and you will know he's a Nigerian army or military officer or American military officer or that. So they don't have corporate identity. You won't detect their movement, you won't detect their locations by their identity. No. Unless when they have perpetrated acts, dastardly acts, that's when you get to investigate. So now, just going by conventional military training where you want to arm yourself, who will you shoot on the street? Because these guys could be even on mass transit with you. They will transport themselves on a mass transit with other innocent Nigerians, move to the location where they want to operate, get a light from the vehicle, and move to where they want to do what they want to do. So it has to be a combined or a kind of sort of synergy among all the security agencies. It's not a mere military or militarization that will address these issues. Now, even if you recruit 1 million Nigerian military force to combat this, where are you going to deploy them to combat the terrorists? Where do you know the location of the terrorists are? You don't know.
But we're still arguing and calling for state police.
Yes.
And in Plateau, people are saying
exactly
strengthen Operation Rainbow. So
now,
does it mean we don't know where to deploy them?
Now, you see, when you talk about such a state police, I think cascading it to community level is the best. Now, there are so many ways you can build self-defense system for communities. It mustn't be through arms all the time, because at the time they come to attack or to kidnap, most of the communities or the vulnerable population don't have arms to defend themselves, right? So, even if it's something that can trap them at that point in time until they are being captured by the security agencies or their arrival. So this is a preventive measures that I urge the security armed forces to employ.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we don't apply a preventive measure that we just want to say we want to recruit, we want to arm, recruit who? Deploy them where? To shoot at who? At what point in time? So this is the challenge they are definitely going to encounter. So it has to be rather a preventive measure rather than response measure.
Okay. Answer.
Yeah, Nigeria has spent over 7 trillion naira in insecurity for, I would say, since time of Jonathan to date, or 2023 to date, but no tangible result. We've spent almost, I think, thrice or even 4 times, the annual budget on education. We've spent with 7 trillion naira in over 7 trillion naira in insecurity, but Nigerians are not still safe. What should the people do? Because they own the country. It's not those who are in leadership that own Nigeria. Those who in leadership derive legitimacy from us because we are the people who voted for them. And I honestly think that how democracy works, if the people are not happy with any thing or policy or whatever, or if we feel that the government is not, or those they've elected are not meeting up to the expectations, then I do think that they do have to rethink. Wouldn't you agree with me on that? Isn't that how democracy should work?
You see, Prasad, any society that does not have a strong social rights movement or civil rights movement, whether in a democracy or military regime or communist regime or whatever, such a society can never hold their leaders accountable.
Oh, that society is an oppressed society.
So now the citizens, in my own understanding of Nigeria and the Nigerian people, is that we are more comfortable with what we have. And at any point in time, because...
is it comfort for what we have, or is it, I would say, complicity because if you look at social media, they are trying to, look at the problem. All those in the Southwest are looking at the president, since he's from the Southwest, he needs to move urgently, to rescue the kids. But how about looking at the whole...
Or to undermine the credibility of Mr. President. Or to undermine the credibility of Mr. President.
He's just echoing what a lot of people,
Now,
that's just...
where the problem is this. You see, the elite interest is always... You see, the elite interest is always protected. Whether he's from the southeast or from whatever region he's coming from, the elite interest is always the same. And the maximum protection they enjoy from the system is the same. Now, if you look at those that are benefiting, or maybe from Buhari's time, from other regions, there were people who were direct beneficiaries and maximum beneficiaries under Buhari from other regions. They were not interested in what was going on, the insecurity under Buhari. The same thing from the far north. There were those who were direct beneficiaries of Buhari's government that time. They were not interested in what was going on under Buhari. The same thing under Tinubu.
Yeah.
If you go closely, you will see some people even from Oyo State will want to politicize the kidnapping of these young, innocent school children and trying to make it look like the handwork of the opposition leaders that led to this unfortunate situation.
Honorable Zoma, if these people are saying it's the work of opposition leaders, since they know the people involved, why not submit their names to security agencies? Don't you think that will help? Because I think that we've taken the nonsense of the political class too long in this country. Because one thing they always do is to distract us from the main issue. We're talking about kidnap of kids here, and then you're saying that it is all politically motivated. Since you know the political group, that is behind all of this, why don't you report them to security agencies or expose them?
The first thing I will hold responsible, and I will say that Nigeria has failed and such organization should be held responsible, is NCC. NCC has a
What's
database.
NCC?
That's Nigerian Communications Commission.
Okay.
It has the database of all Nigerians that are subscribers to GSM network, right? And we have NIDA that handles technological devices in this country.
See, let's not even talk about that, because we had a private citizen tapping the phone of an NSA. So let's not talk about that. So why I say we shouldn't talk about that, because it's like we're flogging a dead horse. If a private citizen can tap the phone of an NSA, I think that what tech can do is unimaginable. And it just shows that maybe the country is, we're happy seeing poor people being kidnapped and being killed because they are poor, they don't have names, they don't matter.
So that's why I said earlier, securitization is just a speech act in Nigeria. There's no way you can tell me that phone devices used in Nigeria that NIDA doesn't know the code number or the IMEN number of that
course
phone.
They do.
And the GSM phone used for communication that they don't know. So it's just a speech act. And to me, I don't see it as we want to always make a joke of any situation we find ourselves. And I see it as well as a kind of situation deliberately manufactured to distract politicians, citizens from focusing on holding politicians accountable.
Absolutely.
If not, you can't tell me that a government that has all it takes to deal with criminality, yet the government laments more than the victims and innocent citizens.
And ICRI did an investigation. They uncovered that a lot of states invested in communication tracking devices worth over 10 billion. Plateau State is among those states. And for me, I wonder why are they not deploying those technologies? Kaduna State has, and that's why Dadiata was picked up. That's why Luka Biniat was picked up. But when it comes to identifying terrorists, why are we not? Who is protecting them? Who is
giving them? It is an organized, necessary evil.
Because they monopolize evil.
That's how he defines government.
Yeah.
So in this context, you will understand that government can employ, or political class can employ, or in power can employ any measure in order to sustain themselves in power. If it means to use insecurity in order to perpetuate themselves in power, they can use that. If it means to use money, resources to perpetuate themselves in power,
all about
they can.
perpetuity.
If it means to use propaganda to perpetuate themselves in power, they can always do that. And of course, you should know that no political leader who enjoys power or the resources of the state will willingly hand over power to the next person.
And that is where the citizens should come in.
Therefore, it is now the responsibility of the citizens. And that's why I was saying the civil rights movement. You look at it, viewership on television stations,
Right.
because there is certain obscene content that they don't want. Let's say Electricity Consumers Association of Nigeria can shut down this social rights movement. You will be able to hold the government accountable. But where you have none, the government can take a decision at any point in time, and they will impose a policy that is totally alien to the people. And the people cannot react because they don't have the instrument
Yeah.
to react. And even when they react, it will not be effective, because such an instrument is not a strong weapon that can draw the attention of the government or can harm the government at any point in time.
Right.
So that is where we have to get it right when it comes to issues of civil rights and civil society as well.
I think there's more education needs to be done. People need to understand what it means to be a citizen and what it means for you to participate in a civic society. But you have Africans are communal, and then we derive meaning and identity from, group. Like I'm Tarok, so anything that, Tarok people, say, I'm going to go with it. But I'll always ask myself, who is the supposed leader of the Tarok person? And does he know what is going on in my life? So I think that this is democracy. There are three principles. The voter knows best. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. And then I always forget the third one. But if I remember, I'm going to say it out. So Africa is just a society that we're communal, and then we derive meaning from the group, that we belong to.
And civilization, particularly in Africa, in order to eliminate this content of tendency of tribalism, because if you look at the early African society, they were grouped based on tribes, them under one common principle, which is an ideology, right? But in the context of Africa and Nigeria particularly, we try to remove ourselves by force from this innovation, which is political party system that will accommodate everyone, and we are to share a common value system of a political party. So that we do away with all these things we've been lamenting about tribalism.
But it's tribe.
But we have refused to do that.
It's tribe. I look forward to a time that, especially if kids will be taught that you have to look at people for the value that they possess, instead of, that the tribe that they belong to. I think that is going to help our society. Well, we've been having a chat with Honorable Emmanuel Zobmal. You can join the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. 08121877777, or you call 09055666699. Before you call, you have to turn down the volume of your radio, or you turn it off completely, and then you tell us your name and where you're calling from.
As an alternative.
The conversation, please. Got to you late. Call us back when you get a chance. Good evening. Thank you for calling. Okay. That didn't work. 08121877777. Hello, thank you for calling.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Ponsa.
Tell us the name and join the conversation, please.
My name is Zira. I'm calling from Old Bukuru Park.
We're listening.
Well, I want to comment your guest. He has spoken very, very well. Well, you see the situation we are having here in this our society is just that we are not patriotic. And why did I say so? This thing of tribalism, religion, it is my brother, it is not my brother, that is what is killing us. You see, America, whichever president that comes into power, his first slogan will be American first. Just like what your guest said, that when anybody wants to collect power, he doesn't mind whether he should use the life of people or he should create insecurity or whatever, and which we are not doing it in the best way, forgetting that there is karma. have to give account in anything that you are doing here on earth. And which I'm seeing that as if we, the African continent, are not seeing that as if karma is reality. Huh? That is why I don't blame sometimes by the time they come of age, you see them that spending a drug that will cost, you see them spending money at the end of the time, the money that they've stolen, that they've looted, overnight it will just vanish away. And you will see them on the street, you'll be pitying, you'll use
Thank
the
you.
quote of Bible and say that, yeah, a good father keep inheritance for his children. Will you keep inheritance which you know that the inheritance is not genuine, is not stealing from the people? We'll be lamenting in this country, just like what Antibas used to say. Water.
Thank you. There's a much we take. Thank you.
Water. For over how many years they are telling us road. It's road water.
Thank you.
Water more than the road.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you. Yeah, I mean, since independence, Nigeria hasn't solved one problem. We've not solved one problem. Education, healthcare, water, no one problem we've solved. No one human problem for over 60 years of our corporate existence as a people. Huh?
We have created more.
Of course, that we can be able to contain. Hello, thank you for calling. Tell us the name and join the conversation, please.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Tell us the name and join the conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Sadiq Umar. I'm calling from TT&T Junction.
We're listening.
Yeah, I will comment your guest. You have spoken very, very well. You see, it is very, very clear that the politicians at the high class level or that are holding position of governance office, they don't care about the issue of life, the life of the people. I don't think we have to doubt twice about this because we have seen what have happened when life have killed. The president will come and make a comment. Let's use Plateau as an example. We have the promise of almost 500 cameras. Where are the cameras? And you see, nobody is asking about it. And again, we have our House of Representatives, which they are supposed to be functioning to be telling the president the reality of what's happening. But you see, even them, they are just there based on their own personal interest. No wonder we see what happened in the primaries that just goes on. That's to tell you that the people that have been given the mandate are not the choice of the people. So how can Nigerians do now to bring the changes? If the primary that the mandate is given to people to have a direct primary and is not consulted legally, then how is it going to be in the general election? You see, all these questions that is what we have to raise about. That's why we are calling on international organizations to be intervening in this kind of issue. It's not just to come and talk on media. There is issue that they have to intervene in Nigeria. And Nigerians are very, very tired of the system. And Nigerians are trying their best to make sure that they have changed the system. But when it comes to election, people will be wondering what kind of magic that is happening. I wish our constitution should be changed so that we can have an individual candidate, so that they have hope on them. So we will not give hope in Nigeria. We are hoping that 2027 should be a new dawn, and Nigerians should look at the life of the people, especially these students that are in the captivity of a bandit. They should try their...
We are talking here in order to profile solutions for insecurity that has been happening in this country, whereas we will not see the end of it. You see, as your guests have spoken very well, it's politics. They are taking it with the life of innocent citizens of this country. You see, some issues that I'm getting in the system of our country today. When the citizen, we have been killed, the innocent citizen, when we are trying this insecurity, I'm telling you, and if we the citizen, we are trying to profile them, you see you there within the media, you say MVC. We are talking look at what is happening in this country. Like today, if we intend to mention names, you people will backslide us and say this, and the government are doing nothing in order to protect us in times of this insecurity. For example, like today, you see these insurgents, they have their scope people. Like the Gumi, what did the government have done inside of him? But nothing has happened. We have like the killings that happened recently in Benue. Even then, I was in Benue there. They were talking that because some other opposition, they hate the government, That's why they are killing. They even mentioned name, the citizen there in Benue. I was in Makodi, they were mentioning name. But I'm telling you, when they talk, even a radio station, you people will
Thank
say
you.
NBC, they will do whatsoever.
Thank
So
you.
Who is telling who? So we need to properly.
Thank you.
If government they cannot do anything.
Thank you.
Give the citizen the mandate in order to call names that they are sponsoring their killers. I think this will.
Thank you, sir. This is a much we'll take. Thank you. Take us through social media, Gilbert.
Kizito Cholom says it's high time our leaders do what's expected of them. Very unfortunate to see our children in such conditions. David Boldmine says government should move from reacting to preventing. That's to state that security must become proactive, not reactive. Suleiman Jibril, my prayer always is, may Allah give us good leaders who care about Nigeria and its people. We have a long way to go, most especially on the issue of insecurity. Bature Jeremiah says, good day, good work you're doing, carry on. While Shag Matthias says, honestly speaking, we have a military and policing system that cannot and will never solve this problem so long as we continue these approaches. How can they announce their planned operations before executing them? Adiu Akaso, if it were US or any developed country, they wouldn't waste time and they would bring back those children. But this government of Nigeria, oh my God, I'm speechless. Princess Diria Shani, what do our children, innocent children, do to deserve this? Aziz Yusuf Musa, oh my God, look at the attack at Gomjang in Forum yesterday. We're in real trouble. Wallahi. Kwede Citizen says, I expected by now the students' unions at all levels of education in Nigeria would have shut down the institutions to demand and pressure the government at all levels to secure. I don't think our leaders are ready to protect us. May God Almighty save us in this country. Amen. David Z says, they know the solution, but they fails in their responsibilities to tackle insecurity in our country. They know what to do. It's an unfortunate one. Good evening. We leave it here.
Yeah, well, Honorable Zama, please go ahead and give us your response and concluding remarks.
Well, Ponsak and Gilbert, you see, sometimes the government or Nigerian government is somehow very, very funny. Like one of the commentators, you can say that when something happens as a government or as a security agency, you want to announce when you want to take action to deal with the criminals or terrorists. You are rather telling them to look for where to hide. So it's either the government is aiding them to hide or the government is not sincere about dealing with the matter.
Yeah, do you think that the government is entirely sincere about the fight against insecurity?
That is why
because the more
it's a two-way thing.
Yeah,
it's
like I said, we'll
they
spend
are aiding them to go and hide, or the government is not really sincere about dealing with.
Because
the
we've
situation.
spent 7 trillion, but it's like the military generals are becoming more and more richer and more untouchable, buying properties in choice parts of across this country. For governor. And then I asked, where did he make all of his money from? While serving in the Navy?
Whenever there is a civilian regime, there is a culture among or in the military general, put them in the barracks. So, like what you are saying, it is quite unimaginable that a serving soldier, whether officer or non-officer, is killed by a who are encouraging the terrorists to do more. And once if the military is killed, any military officer is killed, whether officer or non-officer, you have already demoralized Nigerians about their protection, because the military, which is the supreme arm of government or any state to defend the people, is being decimated gradually in that manner. So that is a very, very ridiculous situation we find ourselves. Some politicians today who are beneficiaries or who are in power were celebrating insecurity under another regime. That insecurity led to the downfall of a particular regime that brought about a transition in government. Now, if such people were in power at that time, were not in power, celebrated such level of insecurity,
Yeah.
how do you think they are going to be serious about insecurity when it is their own time when they're in government? So there's a high level of politics disguised in the name of insecurity in Nigeria.
And that is-
until
yeah.
when the citizens will rise up to
Thank
do what
you.
they can do for
Just
themselves.
like what the
That's
father
also
Matthew
what we
Hassan
can do.
Kuka said, this country is for us to build. The little guys, the me and you, walking the streets of Nigeria. Your final word, Gilbert.
Well, I don't know, but